There are thousands and thousands of twin flames that are actually here at this time on planet Earth and have been placed very strategically across the globe to deliver on their purpose and mission and reach union. Now, while I say that, I have to point out that even though many are called, not everybody delivers on their destined path. So in this video, I want to really talk about what are the 3 key reasons that are holding twins back from reaching union, from delivering on their purpose, and really what needs to actually shift on your journey so that you can reach that desired path, that destined path that you're really here to fulfill. Now, the first reason why the twin flames are not actually moving towards union is simply because the path is not understood. And you don't have to take my word for this. If you go and take a look at any twin flame forum, if you take a look at comment section on general twin flame videos, those that aren't really focused on telling you how to accomplish what needs to actually be accomplished on this journey, you will find that, the twin flame sentiment lies in really reminiscing about your twin, really talking over and over about what it felt like when you met your twin, focusing on, when is the separation going to end? People will say things like, I'm ready for union, not understanding the amount of work that really needs to go into this journey. And without that inner work, you're really not going to reach union. So unfortunately, what you have is twin flames just spinning in circles, repeating the same cycles, just waiting and waiting. And that is not going to result in union. If you take a look at, if you wanted to climb, for example, a mountain, standing at the bottom of the mountain, looking at the mountain, talking about the peak of the mountain, talking about how long it might take you to get there, and you can't wait to see, what it looks like once you finally get to the top, is not equivalent to you grabbing your gear and actually making that climb, moving upwards. Well, this journey is exactly the same way. Where twin flames are actually stuck is at the bottom of the mountain, looking up, knowing what they want, knowing what it should feel like when it happens, thinking about all the journey that they've kind of accomplished to get to that mountain, but nobody's actually doing the work to get to the top. And therefore, union is out of reach. And the only way this is going to shift is when you start doing the meditation, doing the inner work, facing your shadows, so that you can finally make progress in the right direction. The second reason why twin flames actually don't move towards union is simply because the feminine energy that is leading, in this connection has a heavier load. Because remember, the separation is not felt as deeply by the masculine as it is by the feminine, and that is also by strategic design, simply because the feminine is the one that's meant to do the research, is the one that's meant to figure out the inward path and lead this connection. Now, don't get me wrong, the masculine energy does have their challenges, and I don't want to take away from that, but nevertheless, the feminine energy is the initial, participant that is doing majority of this work to take this to union. Now, by the way, I just want to emphasize, when I say feminine energy, it does not matter. It could be the male that is actually leading in this connection, but that is still the feminine energy. So feminine energy is not the same as divine feminine, just to be clear. Now, with that being said, a lot of the feminines, whoever is leading in this connection, the chaser I'm talking about, ends up giving up because this journey comes with a lot of difficulty in terms of the ascension symptoms, not really having clarity of the path, not really understanding how to deal with the medical system, not knowing what the destination actually looks like. So a lot will give up and run away in between because it's a lot to deal with. So with that, there is something that needs to shift, but the commitment really comes down to the feminine energy. And until that is understood, this can be a very difficult path. Number 3 for why twin flames aren't reaching union is simply because there is no certainty on this journey. Now, when I say there's no certainty, it's not that union will not occur, but it's more to do with how long this journey could take. Because a lot of what you're dealing with is with the unseen. Now, if you take a look at spirituality in general, ask any, a spiritual seeker, how long does it take to do the ascension? What chakra am I trying to get to? How long did it take you to get there? The answers will vary. This journey is not about time. It's not something you can measure. Yes, with regular meditation, regular practice, doing the inner work, you can start to finally, when you're aware enough, see the shift. You can see the patterns. You can break those patterns. You can, finally identify the shadow, overcome the shadow. But it takes a certain amount of work to even be able to get to that, so that you are successful on this journey. So for the feminine energy that can't really see this, they end up giving up because they don't know how long this is going to take. So the thoughts that kind of kick in is, it's okay. I don't want union. It's okay. I will find somebody else. I can't put up with this behavior that's coming from the masculine energy. And so with that, union is nowhere in sight. And, you find twin flames walking away from their journey. So now I want to talk about what actually needs to shift on this journey in order for union to be possible. And this is, universally applicable to all twins. It does not matter, even though there are subtle differences with each person's journey, as long as you apply these 4 strategies to your journey, you are going to be successful in reaching your destined path. And so the first one truly is committing yourself to a meditation practice on a daily basis. Meditation is something that takes focus, it takes discipline. And, you are most likely to be successful if you pick the same time of the day, that same sort of routine every single day. If you come back to it over and over, you will get to a place where you are able to transcend the mind, which is your goal on this journey. The second one is resilience. There is a lot that is coming your way on this journey. There is the emotions of dealing with the separation. There is the lack of uncertainty. There is ancestral healing that will, turn you upside down. And this really varies because there are some twins that can fast track this. If they don't have a lot of ancestral healing, this journey is going to look easier. If there are others who are dealing with a lot, especially from both your, maternal and paternal side, this can be really, really difficult. And it can take some time. I'm not going to lie about that. Some people can be on this journey a couple of years versus some can be on this for 6 months. But that brings me to my third point. Do not focus on time. Do not focus on comparison, because that is going to really hinder your progress, hinder your growth. What you are meant to be doing through meditation, and this is my point number 3, is to bring all of that energy and attention towards you. You have to take a look at how can you love yourself through this process, as difficult as it is. And instead of catering to others, looking at what others are doing, how others are, really succeeding on this journey, bring all of that focus back onto you. Now, with everything I've said so far, that brings me to your point number 4. When you start to shift that focus from the outside to within, something magical happens and it begins to shift that helps you on your journey. You take all of that, external validation that you're seeking on the outside from other twins that have reached union, and you bring that energy back towards within you. All of the answers you need are actually within you. So what ends up happening on this journey is you no longer need to rely on the outside and instead focus on your own inner compass. Your intuition kicks into high gear as you start to meditate regularly, and you will know what more you need to do for yourself on this journey. I'll give you an example from my own journey. There was a lot of sickness that I was dealing with on my particular journey. And of course, the doctors could not figure out what was needed. And my intuition was kind of guiding me in terms of what I could do to help myself through the process. And so you will find that your intuition will guide you towards what is needed if you give yourself that chance. Keep moving with the meditation. Do not look for that certainty and that guarantee, because just because you can't measure what's happening on the outside does not mean that there is no progress being made. It's almost like planting a seed and continuously taking a look at whether or not that plant has grown. You just need to continue to water that seed regularly, make sure it's getting the sunlight, and you will see that plant sprout. And so on your journey, you need to be dedicated to your meditation, really look at that intuition for new shadows, aspects of yourself that may come up that you need to really tackle and handle, and really push through that ancestral healing, which might be tougher for other people. And as you do this, I promise you that you will reach union and you will, deliver on your purpose and really get to that destined path, that golden timeline that you're really meant to align with. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope this was helpful. God bless.